It's a puzzle why the prototype hasn't attempted to eliminate us yet. Despite facing toy after toy that the prototype sent to halt our progress, we've managed to overcome each one. Huggy, Mommy, Mr. Delight, and Catnap have been defeated, and we're still here. If all these adversaries dispatched by the prototype have failed, why hasn't the prototype taken direct action? Perhaps the prototype doesn't actually intend to kill us immediately. Maybe the prototype is aware of our capabilities, just as Poppy recognizes. What if it was the prototype's plan all along for us to dispatch the malevolent toys sent our way? Looking back to the beginning, the Find the Flower letter holds many clues. There are a few errors that suggest a child or a former child's toy composed the letter. There's a theory suggesting Crafty Corn penned it due to the red ink and a strange affinity for the color red. However, her involvement in painting the giant poppy flower and her potential knowledge of our presence raises questions about her role. It's unclear why Crafty Corn would want us to return to the factory, especially considering her limited significance in the game at this point. Additionally, given that the smiling critters were likely killed by Catnap closer to the Hour of Joy, Crafty Corn may not have been alive to write the letter. The note also implies that the staff, not the children, are still present, which contradicts the possibility of Crafty Corn writing it. Considering other characters, it's unlikely that Dog Day or Poppy authored the letter due to their respective circumstances. There's a possibility that the prototype may have orchestrated the letter, while the prototype may not have written it. It could have directed a toy to do so, possibly a former child. The grammatical errors in the letter may have been intentionally included to manipulate the player. It's plausible that the prototype's followers are primarily former children who are enraged with Playtime employees for the Bigger Bodies initiative. The toys that were once staff, like Brawn, are frequently seen in Chapter 3, likely subjected to mistreatment during the Hour of Joy by the followers of 1006 due to the animosity between the resentful children and staff. This letter could have been a ploy by the prototype to lure us back for potential revenge. As for why the prototype targeted us, previous speculation linked the player to the events of the Hour of Joy. This is based on the VHS tape during hallucinations in Home Sweet Home and the feeling of survivor's guilt throughout Chapter 3. It has also been suggested that human employees may have been involved in the Hour of Joy, evident from the release of Kissy Missy's straps and her VHS tape, which could imply potential human involvement in the events. It's an intriguing and elaborate string of hypotheses. The idea that we might have had role in the events of the Hour of is indeed thought-provoking. If Miss Delight's questioning of our existence stems from our potential involvement in those events, adds an interesting layer consider regarding our previous connection to the factory. The concept of our potential betrayal of the prototype does open up a compelling notion. If indeed reneged on an agreement or failed to fulfill a duty during the Hour of Joy, it could provide a motive for the prototype's vengeance. The parallels drawn between Catnap's treatment of Dog Day and the prototype's potential feelings toward us offer an interesting parallel, suggesting a desire for deliberate and drawn-out suffering. Considering the deliberate and prolonged engagements with the various adversaries, it's indeed plausible that the prototype might be orchestrating these confrontations in a calculated manner, aiming for a more harrowing experience. The final notion, suggesting that the prototype simply enjoys toying with us, while not as complex as the others, can't be completely dismissed. The potential motivation of the prototype to gradually rattle us, allowing each encounter to sink in, is certainly a possibility. Ultimately, the depth and intricacy of these theories elevate the potential complexities of the game's narrative and the interactions with the prototype and its minions. These are fascinating perspectives and definitely provide much food for thought. These are thought-provoking theories that add of complexity to the motivations of prototype and the Toys the Factory. The first theory, that the prototype is prolonging events for a more satisfying final, is plausible to Mommy. Is possible that the prototype desires to test our capabilities and psychologically manipulate us, creating the illusion of escape to intensify the inevitable. This could align with prototype's potential desire for drawn-out retribution. The second theory, which proposes that the prototype is using us to harvest toy body parts, raises compelling questions concerning the nature and purpose of the prototype's actions. It implies that the prototype is amassing resources and building strength for an unknown, potentially grand plan, which adds a compelling layer of mystery to the overall narrative. The questions surrounding the persistence of the toys in the factory and the prototype's motives also raise intriguing possibilities. The idea that the prototype might be anticipating our arrival, utilizing the potential value of the player in its grand scheme, is a fascinating concept that introduces a new level of intrigue to the storyline. The notion that the player themselves might be considered a bigger body and integral to the prototype's plans is a captivating, albeit speculative, angle that expands the potential scope of the narrative. Regarding the death screams and the cryptic messages following each demise, these instances of direct communication with the player after death add a layer of unsettling mystery, posing questions about the origins and intent behind these messages. In combination, these theories paint a rich tapestry of potential motivations and machinations within the world of the game, offering a wealth of possibilities for future twists and revelations. These are fascinating notions that enrich the deepening mystery behind your character and relationship with the prototype. The suggestion that the red gas in Poppy Gel, once utilized in the Bigger Bodies initiative, could have potential regenerative properties that subtly tie into the player character's ability to revive themselves is a compelling theory. The analogy drawn between the player's potential revival ability and the underlying life force of the children within the toys adds yet another layer of complexity to an already intricate narrative. The possibility of the player being a bigger body that doesn't speak, akin to Huggy or Kissy, while certainly speculative in nature, provides an interesting angle to explore. The lack of dialogue from the player character creates room for this interpretation, particularly when considering how our interactions with Poppy and Ollie unfold. Their banter somehow seems to consciously exclude the player's voice, even in moments where one might naturally expect it. The notion that the prototype recognizes something special or unique in the player, be it intelligence, strength, dexterity with the grab pack, or potentially even revival abilities, sheds light on the unexplained reasoning behind the prototype's decision not to terminate the player. If the prototype is indeed utilizing the player for its own designs due to recognized talents or other special attributes, it deepens the enigmatic dynamic between the two characters. In summary, the complexities and possibilities raised by these theories offer an array of potential explanations for the player character's unique significance within the game's narrative. The puzzle of why the prototype hasn't killed the player, combined with the various threads of speculation surrounding the player's nature, promises a wealth of intriguing revelations. These ideas elevate the game's story and set the stage for the unraveling of an engrossing mystery.